Hello and welcome to my first podcast. I'm your host, Max Rack, and you are listening to It's Never Too Late to Be Grateful. This podcast is about my journey from mediocrity to mastery. The learnings along my way in that journey, tips, tricks, exercises to get ahead faster, which will be your shortcut to mastery. A small favor before we go into today's episode, I would like you to ask if you're a previous listener, a returning listener, or a new listener. Please share this episode or any favorite episode you have with 3 of your friends, regardless if it's through text message, WhatsApp, or any of your social media challenges. It will be really appreciated. Before we get into today's story, there's a special day today. I'm recording this episode for the first time in our new apartment. We're still in the middle of moving and getting things ready. We still have with no broadband setup yet, so things are still a little bit tricky to get some work done. But I would like to also thank the 2 friends which helped us today to pack up all the stuff, unmount, unbuild furniture and carry them from our old apartment into our new apartment. And I would also like to thank already to another friend who will help us, which will help us tomorrow again. So today's story is, I'm really blessed that I've grown up in a pre-smartphone era. So in times where I remember to have my first phone was a 3210 Nokia phone, which had Snake on it, which was the most important part of the whole phone. I remember back then. And the battery was, I don't know, I think didn't have to charge it for 2 weeks or something like that. And I think there was a really great blessing for me to grow up in that time and connect with friends in a different manner than we would do that now today in the smartphone era. Through that fact, I had been outside a lot with friends, riding bicycles, running around, playing outdoor games, which was great fun. And I think still a lot of our young people, kids, children, siblings, cousins, friends, children, they still go outdoors and do that, but their phone is always part of their life. And back then I wasn't aware how grateful I can be for the time I've grown up in. And I always wanted more, and regardless of what it was, new shoes, new jerseys from my favorite sport teams. And don't get me wrong, I don't think there was anything guilty or in any way, because that made me learn to take on maybe my first own job as a child, like delivering newspaper and stuff like that, to be able to afford those things for myself, which made me appreciate them much more. And even today I'm much more grateful that I had that opportunity to deliver newspaper and afford all those things with my own money I wanted. And I think especially that, looking back now, I can see all the positive I wasn't able to see before. I always thought maybe the negative that I worked when I was, or maybe it's not negative, but in a sense I didn't get those jerseys from my parents because they didn't think they are necessary, which I still believe they are not necessary. Many of them I still have and I still use to work out, but I wouldn't spend that money I did back then right now. And looking back to see the positive that my parents are right, and had to make my own experiences. I earned that money myself, and I spent it on that because it was important for me back then. Similar to how a certain car had been important for me back then, while now it's not that important anymore. It has to drive me from point A to point B, and if that is given and that is possible, I'm fairly happy. So I know we are meant to see the negative and the dangerous things first, because that's how we survived hundreds, maybe thousands of years. And that's how we work, how our minds work, how our bodies work. We always see the negative and dangerous situation to react on them, and in that sense have that survival instinct to survive. And that's how we built and how we survived many years, and how we will survive many years. But we are now in a safe era, so it's not that important as it used to be to highlight those negatives or those dangerous situations, because there aren't really dangerous situations there. How often do you face a situation where if you can't react on it straight away, you die? That's apart from maybe on a motorway, or when someone crosses the street where you could maybe kill someone. That situation will not really happen often to you, so we are in a really safe area in that sense, and therefore we don't need to focus that much on negative and dangerous situation. And to look at the positive, we have to acknowledge what we have. If we don't acknowledge what we have right now, we will never be grateful what we will have in the future. It will then be what we have at that later time in our life. So it's nothing we will truly appreciate. But if we appreciate something we have right now, we will then also be able to appreciate that extra we will pull or attract into our life. And if we always focus on being a better self, we will always be positive, because there's nothing greater than growing, becoming better, improving in certain areas, in all our areas in our life. I think it makes us all exciting if we, for instance, run a half marathon and then the year following we run another half marathon and just beat the time we have run that marathon next time. And so it is in every other situation in our life. So we always have to work on ourselves to make ourselves better. So what I wanted to say by that is it's not wrong to see the bad things. We are meant to, and that's how we survived so many years. But it's not wrong to see them when you choose to focus on the good. So we will see the bad things, but focus on the good things. If someone crosses you off or whatever in a motorway and you can brake quickly enough that you don't crash, then it's not stupid that the person in front of you done it, or might be. But the positive is you didn't crash, you were quick enough and you reacted quick enough because you were focused enough on the traffic or not on your smartphone or whatever you shouldn't use when driving anyway. And if you focus on that good in that situation, you will always attract more positive and more good things into your life. But if you focus on the bad, it will happen over and over again, because that's what you focus on. Just imagine your dream car, maybe, I don't know, 3 Series BMW or something like that, and imagine that, close your eyes and imagine that, and if you focus on that car and if you look a lot into that car. That's exactly the car you will keep seeing the next following days, because that's where your focus is. If you don't believe it, try it. Do it a couple of times before you go to bed. Imagine that car, and you will see it will appear. So if you're grateful for what you have, you will always have more, because you're grateful for what you have, and that appreciation will always give you more than you already have. It's not what we need, it's what we have, which will then cover what we need. Always strive to become better, because we are the only thing we can control. There's no other circumstances or other people we can really improve or make better. We can guide them, we can mentor them, we can try to teach them new things, but at the end, the only thing we can really make better on a daily basis is ourselves. And if we focus on that, if we make one person better every day, we make the world a better place. So keep focusing on yourself, make yourself better, and you are part of a movement to make the world a better place by simply making yourself better. And that's how we all can do a lot for a greater future. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. I'm your host, Max Röck, and until next time.